Why, hello there. So I'm going to just be doing a little run through of the 7 Mage Tower challenges that I did. I'm going to be giving my opinion on them, what I think needs to be nerfed for them, kind of an overall rating that's an opinion based on how I felt they went, how much I liked them, stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy. As you can see, I have the book mount. There's actually a bug right now where if you like log out, it'll disappear from your collection. Right now, it's actually it's in my collection, but I'll put up a photo of it not being in my collection, which was the last time I did a take on this video. It wasn't in my collection. So yeah. Anyway, I'll also be mentioning how many pulls each challenge took me, which could be interesting to hear as well, and I have several guides for them up on my channel. Enjoy! So first up is going to be the Frost Mage challenge, because I'm a Frost Mage main. So this was also the first one I did. It took me about 8 pulls to do, and I do have a guide up for it, but it was actually incredibly fun. You had to do some pet management, moving your pet, you had to play a different way because you're using different talents, and overall I just felt like it was a fun use of the kit, so I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. You just have to manage kiting well with funneling single target damage. You have to use your cooldowns well and everything. It was a very fun Mage Tower challenge. It's probably the only one that I'm going to do more than once, though I might do the healer one again. So yeah, I've already done it twice. I'm probably going to do it at least another time before the Mage Tower goes away, but it's not even the end of the first week, so maybe another 2 times. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I recommend you give it a try because it's very fun. Now really quickly talk about the Fire and Arcane ones. They took me 2 and 3 pulls each, in terms of respectively. So the Fire one took 2. If you're having trouble with Agatha, I'd recommend just watching Preheat's guide. That's what I did, and then you just don't get hit by the balls, use a health potion, you'll probably kill it. And I lusted the 40% mark. I think that was good. I really, if anything, that fight needs a buff, but it was really boring, and I don't want to do it again, and I don't really care what they do with it, but it 100% doesn't need a nerf. It's already super easy for Fury Warrior. It's really strong for, or really easy for Fire Mage as well. I've heard it's quite difficult for Feral though, so maybe they'll do some like specialization tuning. But I'm gonna give this one like a 3 out of 10. I didn't have to use like any of my kit. My Arcane Explosion like 2-shot the imps, and it was a boring fight overall. So talking about Arcane, took me 3 pulls like I mentioned. I just watched Cindy that like guy who's really well known for playing Arcane Mage. I watched his guide, and that made it pretty easy. He put out an even better guide actually, just yesterday, I believe. So if you haven't managed to do the Arcane one and you want to, you should go check that out. It's incredibly simple. You basically just stack the mobs and Arcane Explosion cleave them down, and yeah, it's, I don't know, I didn't like the fight either. It was just annoying, but I do think that it had a lot of varied mechanics, so I'm gonna give that probably just a 5 out of 10. It wasn't horrible. The boss fight was pretty manageable, especially once you started being able to cleave them so that you could just get their health down to reasonable chunks. But yeah, not too bad. Was a little boring though. Now you're probably thinking I'm like really good or something from the pulls that I've just told you. Well, I'm about to dispel you of that notion. So I did the tank challenge as a Prot Paladin. I don't recommend that. You should probably do it as a Vengeance DH, because I've heard that's really easy. This took me 90 plus pulls, and I had to full cheese it. Like, I was using the BFA flask, I was using the BFA Unbridled Fury Potion, I was using like the BFA food, augment runes every pull, like all that stuff, and oh my god, I don't like the challenge. You have to dodge so much stuff. You have to pay attention to so many things all the time, and it's just really difficult. If you go into the second phase of the fight with 2 Infernals, you're just literally getting knocked every which way, because the purple lines just knock you everywhere. If anything for this, I would probably nerf the first phases guys HP so that you can more easily get into the second phase with 1 Infernal. And then you can also nerf Annihilate damage. I didn't really have any problems with it. Once you reach P2, you're probably going to have a lot of stops, and Prot Paladin's a really high damage spec, so it doesn't have that many problems with it. But yeah, you can nerf Kruul's health a little bit as well. That won't be too bad, especially because Unbridled Fury does like 11k damage, and he has 78k HP for a Prot Paladin. So yep, just a little bit of health nerfs there, and we're probably good. So, talking about the Frosty K1, this one took me about 23 attempts. I only completed it after Bicep Pumps put out his guide, but I had already figured out to use Unending Thirst at that point. But he did really help me with like when to use my cooldowns and doing the inhibition like really fast. So yeah, kudos to him, but he's always been really OP. So anyway, this was a fun challenge. I enjoyed it. It was just insanely tuned tight DPS check for P2, but I'm also using really bad trinkets and everything. I really enjoyed it. The first part wasn't too challenging with Unending Thirst or anything as a DK. It's kind of just Xylem has a lot of HP. They could probably reduce it by like 5 to 7% and be fine. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with running into Razor Ice at the start, but that's alright. And then they probably also need to nerf the Void guy's HP by about 7%. That will probably be enough. Don't want to make it like a complete pushover because, you know, that's what the Rage is for. So, but yeah, I just recommend watching a guide on this. It was a very fun fight. I really liked progressing P2. I only really had to progress it 3 times though because you're using less than that phase. But yeah, it was right down to the wire. So that was pretty good. I'm gonna give this a solid 8 out of 10. Could be higher, but the Xylem guy has like a ridiculous amount of HP. I do like dodging like all the shadow barrages though. That was fun. Okay, and then I did the Feltotem thing on a BM Hunter, which, you know, was it was okay, right? It wasn't horrible. This is a fight that is a lot less about the DPS and just all about using your CC at exactly the right time, which takes a while to learn. It took me about 30 pulls to do this, and I didn't get it until I don't know, I had to watch like a few guides on it like the night after I'd started it to actually get it down. But yeah, once you learn the timings on Fellburst and when he's gonna cast his Sonic Scream, it gets a lot easier and then it's not too bad. But Tugar's HP is definitely very overtuned. You should probably get his health reduced by like 15% and that'd be fine. And then the fight would be balanced. Well, they should also probably nerf the Sonic Scream by 30%, so it only does 20% of your HP instead of 30% of your HP. You know, reducing by a third. So, yeah. But other than that, it was a fun fight. Wasn't terribly difficult. You just had to do the mechanics and not freak out. But those mechanics did take a while to learn. So, yeah, it was fun. I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10, even though it was kind of a slog to get through with this HP. It was really fun once you got into the dance of knowing how to do it. So, and now on to the healer one. I chose to do this as a Holy Paladin. This took me about 25 tries, and I chose to do it as a Holy Paladin because I just thought Holy Paladin was easy, as in easier in terms of the tuning compared to other specs. I never really played Holy Paladin before this, and I have a video coming up for a guide on how I did it because as a noob it was, you know, a little challenging, but there's actually a really good talent you take, which is Vengeance Crusader, which makes the first phase and the second phase really easy, and then you swap to Awakening when you get to the boss. But yeah, it was really fun actually. It wasn't that bad. I think for Holy Paladin it's a very well tuned fight. I thought the knives were a bit overtuned, but you know, that was I had like no idea how to heal for the majority of things, so I was struggling a lot. In the end, I really didn't have anyone get super low. I think I had to use Lay on Hands in the first phase, but that was about it. So yeah, everything else just seemed fine. It's not really that overtuned. They could probably reduce the last boss's HP by like 2% or something because it's pretty tight, but it wasn't really that tight. So yeah, anyway, it was a lot of fun. Overall, this was probably a 9 out of 10 fight. I really enjoyed the Mage Tower. It was a big challenge. I guess we'll just have to see what they're gonna do with it in the future. You know, if they're gonna hard nerf it in like 2 days, and I just, you know, wasted hours of my life, but that's okay. That's alright. At least I now don't have a mount in my collection for a few days. Woohoo. Anyway, thank you for watching. Feel free to check out one of my other videos. I mainly do Mythic Plus videos for Frost Mage, but yeah, if you have any other content ideas for what I can do, always down to hear them in the comments. Alright, have a good day.